Hey, Beau! Why can collaboration create something that is bigger than oneself?
Well, it's a great question, and this is one I selected from the questions that people sent in to my personal Instagram account, the request I made last week. So thank you so much for sending these in. And for those who haven't, if you feel that my thoughts from the perspective of perceptual neuroscience might be useful, then please do so. And you can hear that Acadia in the background. It's a beautiful, very warm, sunny day on the top of the mountain here in Ibiza. And so I thought I hope you don't mind a bit of the wind, but it's nice to be outside, out in nature. So collaborations, why are they important? Well, I want to suggest a couple of ideas, and also how do we facilitate them? Because not all collaborations work. And so, collaboration is not about just getting stuff done. It's how you get stuff done. If you destroy your relationship along the way, if you destroy another person, if your process is unkind or cruel for various reasons, then in some sense, you could argue, at least in a personal relationship level, who really cares what you achieved if it destroys things along the way? So it's how you also collaborate that's essential to collaborations being successful. So why are collaborations important? The main reason is because we're relatively simple on our own. We are, if you've listened to other Hey Beaus or the podcasts or logged onto the Lab Misfits website, you'll now know that everything you see or do is grounded in your perception. Those perceptions come from your past, and that past has encoded itself in your assumptions and biases, most of which you don't even know. Many of which you've inherited, not both genetically from your family, but also from your culture. So those assumptions and biases are essential for your survival, but they also constrain you, and especially if you don't know what they are. The beauty of collaboration is that we know from complex systems theory, because my lab and my work is not just neuroscience, we're actually particularly interested in complex systems. Your brain is a complex system. Nature is a complex system. And one of the reasons why I study the brain is because of my fundamental interest in complex systems, and in particular complex adaptive systems. And that's what we are. And that's what you're looking through when you open your eyes or open your ears. So we know from the mathematics of complex systems that the best solutions are more likely to exist in a complex search space rather than a simple search space. Okay, I won't. Maybe there'll be another. Maybe one of you will ask me what a search space is, and I can go into that. But effectively, when you increase the dimensionality of your search space, you increase the possibility of finding a great solution. So, metaphorically, let's think about geometry. If you're just searching along a line, all you can do is go forward or backward. Okay, those are the only directions you can go. Now, if the good solution happens to fit on that line, great, but what if it doesn't? There might be a good one, but it's not going to be the best one. Well, if you now put that line as part of a square, now you have a two-dimensional surface upon which to search. You've increased the dimensionality of the space. You've complexified. Now, the probability of a better solution existing on that more complex two-dimensional surface is more likely than a single dimension. Now, put that surface as part of a cube. Now you have a three-dimensional space. You go right, left, up, down, forward, backward, right. The probability of finding a great solution is increased again. Every time you add a dimension, you complexify the space in which you're searching. Okay? And this is what collaboration does. Right? Because other people bring in their assumptions, their biases that come from their history, which is different from your own. So every time you're making a decision, right, you're going to what I call the next most likely possible. You can't just jump. Your brain never makes a big jump. All you can ever do is make a small step to the next most likely possible. Well, what's possible for you and what's likely for you is determined by your assumptions and biases. If you're on a line, you're just going to go forward and backward. All of us are metaphorically, relative to the complexity of integration, of collaboration, we're on a line. Now, as soon as you bring in another person, your space of possibility has increased, right? Now, not just forward or backward, you can go right or left. And so that's what collaboration does. It layers in, it adds dimensions of freedom, dimensions of possibility. And what's really important when thinking about complex systems and thinking about collaboration, it's not just diversity. Diversity is essential. For those who question whether or not we should have diversity, it's just ridiculous. From as a biologist, from the natural point of view, diversity is the engine of evolution. Why wouldn't you want diversity? But so many people forget that it's not just diversity on its own. You need something else, which is the integration across diversity. And that's what nature is constantly looking for. Diversity is the engine of evolution, but through natural selection, what we're trying to do is find those principles, that integration across that diversity. So if you're going to collaborate with someone, you want them to be different from you, right? That's essential. If they're just like you, you're not expanding yourself or the space of possibility. But what you also need to do is find integration across that diversity. So that's why collaboration is essential. Now what's also important to consider is how to do it, okay? And looking at my lab book here, some notes. The way collaboration works is best is if it's in what I call ecology of creativity. Okay, again, remember, it's how you get there that also is essential, not just to getting there when it comes to collaboration. Especially if you're collaborating with your partner, your children, your family members, your friends. Collaboration transcends business, right? This is actually how we interact with others, especially those that are closest to us. And so if you're what's essential for that environment, or let me put it a different way, blocks to good collaboration are things like negativity, right? It's so easy to find what's wrong. Any idiot can find out why it's not working, because there are multiple ways to dying, very hard to stay alive. Dying is easy, so finding why things are wrong, that's easy, right? And we have this illusion that, the intelligent, sophisticated people, I call it this pseudo-intellectual, was they'll always point out why it won't work, as if there's some sort of clarity in that, right? Anyone can do that. It's finding out why things and how things can work, which is actually where the intelligence and wisdom live. So another barrier is cynicism, as opposed to criticality. Criticality is essential, but cynicism doesn't work. Fear, because fear will prevent you from actually taking the next step. Sense of entitlement, right? If you're entitled, you're going to make it all about you. That's antithetical to collaboration. So where does collaboration work? It's when you're in the pursuit of truth, but you're not wedded to has the truth. It's in finding the truth. Yes, have an opinion, but be willing to move, because if you're not willing to move, then the collaboration is never going to expand you and take you to a new direction. Okay? So the ecology of creativity requires a space that encourages questions. If you're in a relationship, personal or otherwise, where questions are difficult, or questions are actually blocked, right? You're in a bad situation. You're in a bad situation because a question begins with a quest, right? The answer can only be achieved by asking a brilliant question. Brilliant questions are hard to ask, and they're especially hard to ask because you have to admit that you don't know. And so many people will go to defensiveness when they're asked a question. But if you're asking a question in the pursuit of truth, as opposed to scoring a point, then that's how collaborations thrive. But you need an environment that loves questions. And you have to want to. You have to want to move. Okay? It's no good if you're just seeking to stand still, right? Collaboration is not going to get you anywhere. You have to seek to want to move, because we only learn when we move. Okay? And so select those people to collaborate with who have these qualities, who have courage but humility. Courage with humility. Courage to not know, and the humility to not know, and the courage to step forward, right? Courage plus humility is essential. What else did I write? Patience. Patience is fundamental, okay? And, quick temper and all that kind of stuff is a real blocker to collaboration. And clarity. Try to be as clear as possible, even if you're as clear as possible about not having clarity, right? Having clarity is really important. And what's really fascinating is it doesn't require necessarily being close to someone. Rich Clark and myself, Rich, who's the head of science in Lab of Mystics, and I are exploring this new hypothesis that what actually enables pro-social behavior, which is essential for collaboration, is not closeness, but humility. Okay, so we don't have the results on that. We're exploring that, but just as I put that up there as a seed. So, okay, collaboration is essential, right? Be naive, celebrate naivete, not ignorance, but naive, and combine that naivete with expertise. And that's a great form of collaboration, because experts are terrible at asking great questions because they're trapped within their box. They know what they're not supposed to ask. Naive people ask great questions, but they don't know they are. Whereas an open expert, can recognize a great question when asked, they just can't ask it. That's one form of collaboration that we really encourage, and you can be that yourself, right? You can move between naivete and expertise. It's up to you. So, be patient, seek clarity, have that courage and humility, create a space that encourages questions and encourages brilliant questions. They're hard to find. Don't be negative, right? Be critical, but not cynical. Try to, be aware that you're going to have fear, because you're going to be challenged to step into places that you don't know. But that's where the courage comes in. Entitlement is not going to work if you're trying to collaborate and co-create something. Okay, you're going to make it about yourself. The ultimate aim here is to complexify yourself. Increase this possibility, the dimensionality of your search space with and through other people. And that can only be possible if you want to, if you actually want to move. If you don't want to move, then don't bother.